Hey, what's happening? Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. As always, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And coming up, the 49ers have signed an offensive lineman with a little bit of positional versatility. And oh my goodness, Nick Bosa wants defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen back. We have to talk about that as well, and you don't want to miss my thoughts. First, this is arguably the biggest offseason coming up in the history of the San Francisco 49ers. The good news is, yours truly, this channel, the 49ers Report, has you covered every step of the way. We will cover this offseason like no other with so much content, long form, short form, live shows, regular videos. So that's why you join the faithful movement here at Chat Sports and hit that subscribe button, because we're closing in on 153,000 subscribers for a reason, because the people can trust us with their Niners coverage. So the 49ers worked out 4 offensive linemen to start the week. Those players included Austin Pleasance, David Sharp, Zach Johnson, and Jalen Mayfield. Of those 4 offensive linemen who worked out for the team, the Niners are adding 1 to their practice squad. It is, drumroll please, Austin Pleasance. That, according to Aaron Wilson, who covers the National Football League. He's based out of Houston, but has a lot of different NFL sources. I've seen him at a couple of marquee events, including the NFL Scouting Combine, and you can trust him because he always has the news pertaining to the NFL waiver wire and transactional events that happen across the league. More on Pleasance here. He is 27 years old. He's been in the league for a little while. Some stints on active rosters, other preseason rosters or practice squads. Has a lot of size, 6'7", 330 pounds. He was a UDFA, undrafted free agent in 2020. He played his college football at Ohio in the MAC. He does have some positional versatility. He can play tackle, he can play guard. And when you can do that at that size and you work out for a team, you show some good movement, teams are going to take a chance on you. He's played in 2 career games, 1 at left tackle, 1 at guard. He played 32 snaps at left tackle for the Bears in their preseason opener back in August. And then he switched over and played right tackle in the final preseason game. So not just positional versatility with being able to play both tackle spots, he can also play along the interior. His only regular season action coming in Week 18 of 2023 when he played 10 snaps at right guard. The 49ers a little bit thin at that offensive tackle spot because Trent Williams remains out with that ankle injury where he hasn't been able to recover as quickly as the Niners had anticipated. Here's what John Lynch had to say about that Trent Williams injury update. He's trying to get back, but it's just been a frustrating injury for him. It hasn't healed like he or we would like. Hopefully having these 10 more days before our next game gives us a better chance, but Trent's doing everything he can to get back on track, but he is injured, and with the injury, there is a chance he will get back, but it has to start recovering, and it's been a lot slower than anticipated. And after the Niners lost that game on Thursday to the Rams, they have a less than 1% chance to make the NFL playoffs, and after they lost that game against Seattle, given how they lost, the impact of it, both psychologically and physically, I had said the Niners season is over. So we've been looking ahead to the offseason for quite some time. And the Niners offseason needs during the midst of this pivotal offseason for this organization, right tackle, center, left guard. They need to rebuild this offensive line. They need to start prioritizing it more. Brock Purdy hasn't had much of a chance back there this year. And then defensively in the trenches, defensive tackle and edge rusher are massive, massive needs. This is where kind of missing on Javon Hargrave and not putting enough depth around Nick Bosa at defensive end has hurt this football team. Linebacker is an offseason need. I think they need to bring back Dre Greenlaw. We'll talk more about him coming up later on in the show. You need corner depth. You need safety options because Jair Brown has gone downhill. I do think with better coaching, he can become a better player and get back to how he was playing last year. And then wide receiver, given the decline of Deebo Samuel and the fact that he might not be on this team next year, and tight end too. You have to start planning for the post-George Kittle era, although I would re-sign George Kittle because he's still playing like the best tight end in football. Speaking of the offensive tackle position, with Pleasance, with Trent Williams, with this being a need for the Niners, we will really, in the months to come, in the lead up to the NFL Scouting Combine in March, the NFL Draft in April, do some more deep dives on some prospects. And with the college football playoff being expanded to 12 teams, we'll get an extended look at some of these players. But as of right now, these are some of the top offensive tackle prospects in the 2025 draft. You have Will Campbell. He could play tackle. He can play guard. His arms are a little bit shorter, but a really good athlete who I think could be a day one starter. Kelvin Banks might be the top offensive tackle in college football. You'll get an opportunity to see him on Saturday against Clemson in the quarterfinal of the college football playoff. Excellent player. You have Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. Josh Connerly Jr. Oregon has a first-round bye. We've been wondering all year, who's the best team in college football? I think it's Oregon, and Josh Connerly has been able to hold it down at that offensive tackle spot. And then another Texas offensive lineman. Steve Sarkisian's done a really good job of building up the line. Cameron Williams, he could be a first-round pick as well. And so to summarize that point, I do believe that sometimes you have to watch the game of football from the sideline. And the meaning behind that, what type of push are you getting with your offensive line? What type of push are you getting from your defensive line? Niners aren't getting enough of a push. They don't have enough talent along the offensive line and the defensive line. San Francisco needs to rebuild the trenches this offseason, and it could start as early as the first round. Defensive tackle, edge, offensive tackle. Those are the three biggest needs in no particular order for this football team, and one of those positions must be addressed in the first round for San Francisco, and right now they're projected to pick in the middle of that first round. So what say you? You be the GM. You be the scout. You be the evaluator. You always have a voice on this program. What is the biggest offseason need for the Niners? Let me know right now down in the comment section. So we talked about the Niners signing an offensive lineman and the trenches overall on the offensive side of the football. Coming up next, what? Nick Bosa, great player, very smart player. He wants Nick Sorensen back next year as the Niners defensive coordinator. We have to explore that. What is his reasoning? Who else does he want back? Stay tuned for that. But first, be sure to sign up with ZBiotics. The holidays are coming up, so we're going to be taking down some drinks, and ZBiotics will help you recover. Get 50% off at zbiotics.com/chatsports. Use that link, or you can use this QR code, which is available on your screen right now. You're probably watching wondering, Chase, what is ZBiotics? Well, have you ever skipped a workout because of drinks the night before? Yeah, I'm with you. If you're committed to your healthy routine this year, you need ZBiotics pre-alcohol. We all have busy lives these days, including myself and Chip. We're grinding, covering the NFL. We can't afford to waste a day stuck on the couch. I got Niners to talk about. My run streak just hit 600 days yesterday. I got to continue to hit my runs and get my swole on. But if you have a few drinks the night before, you might not be able to accomplish all of that. Well, we have an answer. ZBiotics pre-alcohol is the answer you've all been looking for. Let's face it, after a night of drinks, I don't always bounce back the next day like I used to. I'm getting a little bit longer in the tooth. I have a choice to make. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That is until I found ZBiotics pre-alcohol, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break that byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. I wish that somebody who worked here at Chat Sports understood the impact of ZBiotics. He didn't do that. What happened? Took a little snooze at the bar, had a rough next day. You don't want to be that guy. The first time I tried ZBiotics was after and before a watch party. And as instructed, I drank a bottle of pre-alcohol before any alcohol. I was amazed at how good I felt the next day. So, right now, stay in the loop. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. You can also scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your order when you use that code CHATSPORTS. You can sign up for a subscription using our code ZBiotics, also backed with the 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. All right, let's move it forward here on the show. I found this very interesting. Nick Bosa addressed the media from his locker on Monday at the SAP Performance Center. He said he had an indication that what Devondre Campbell did was coming because he heard him complaining in the locker room before the game. Nick Bosa elected to not confront him about that because he didn't want to cause more of a distraction. He's a team captain, though. I would have gone up to Devondre Campbell and said, that's not how we do things here. Anyway, Nick Bosa, on top of that, said other interesting things, including this. He wants to run it back with the same coaching staff and personnel in 2025. And let me just begin with this. If the 49ers have an opportunity to hire Robert Saleh as defensive coordinator, and he is up for coming back as a coordinator, and he doesn't land a head coaching job after getting fired by the New York Jets this year, and Kyle Shanahan keeps Nick Sorensen over Robert Saleh, that's a big mistake. Don't just keep Sorensen for the sake of consistency. Go with the best coach, and Robert Saleh is the better coach and coordinator as compared to Nick Sorensen, and it's not even close. The science of a bad defense, this is my guide. We've seen this all year from the Niners. They are terrible in the red zone. They're bad on third downs. We've seen so many communication and scheme breakdowns. It's not just because young players are playing, as Nick Bosa alluded to. It's because some of the players don't know what they're doing out there because of a lack of coaching. We have seen a lack of player development, including Jair Brown, who really misses Steve Wilks and his defensive background. The Niners have been a poor tackling team, and they've been inconsistent. The Niners are third in yards allowed per game. That's good, but sometimes yardage picked up, it's like wins and losses for a pitcher. It doesn't tell the full story. Their ERA tells the full story. WHIP is an important analytical stat. What's important, can you get off the field on third downs? Can you keep teams from capitalizing in the red zone? Niners can't. They're 25th on third downs and 30th in the red zone. Now, here is what Nick Bosa had to say about this, and you can let me know what you're thinking down in the comments section. I'm not saying we've been playing great defense all year because our red zone defense has been awful. I'm glad Nick Bosa said that. I'm just saying we've had to throw in a lot of young guys early on, and that could cause some confusion and some breakdowns. But right at this point, we're hitting our stride, and that's when we would be going on a playoff run. We just didn't do enough to get to the playoff run. Now, the Niners' playoff hopes are still alive, but even Nick Bosa knows this team is not equipped to make it to the postseason, nor do they deserve it. And Bosa is right on this as well. The Niners have played better of late. They've also worn down in games, though. They wore down, patented wear down in that fourth quarter against the Rams. That is a depth issue, and that is on the front office, and that needs to be addressed this offseason as well. More from Bosa. I think a lot of people, you guys in the media in particular, are going to be like, get these guys out of here, get these guys out of here. It didn't work. But there's going to be a lot of criticism next year when it looks very similar. That's just what I feel because we have the right people in terms of coaches and players. We have the right guys. Defensively is what I can speak on. I think Nick Sorensen's done a great job, honestly. You can't play the play for the players. You could make calls. I think he's gotten better. I think D'Amico Ryan's got better as he went too. I think it'll be very similar next year. And hopefully Dre Greenlaw comes back. He helps and we'll be fresh and ready to rock. The Niners have gotten better of late. Nick Sorensen's done a little bit of a better job since getting dominated in back-to-back weeks by Green Bay and by Buffalo. D'Amico Ryans did show some improvements. The Niners started 3-5 that year. A lot of people thought D'Amico Ryans might be in over his skis. It's different, though, with Nick Sorensen. We just haven't seen it, and I disagree. You hire the elite, proven defensive coordinator for a win-now team. You don't continue to go with an inexperienced DC. But again, I agree with Bosa and Diamador Lenore when talking about Dre Greenlaw. I think the Niners have to re-sign Dre Greenlaw. I think the Niners have to find a way to bring back Talanoa Hufanga. They are leaders on the defense. They are such instinctual, heady, high football IQ guys who make impactful plays and are always around the football. And with them being back the last 2 weeks for Hufanga, last week for Greenlaw, you saw this defense look completely different. And maybe Bosa's right. You bring back a healthy Hufanga, you bring back a healthy Greenlaw, Nick Sorensen as well, and that's what this Niners defense can look like with more depth. He knows ball. I know ball, but I'd rather go with the elite defensive coordinator in Robert Saleh over Sorensen. Your one-word reaction if the Niners do bring back Nick Sorensen. I will be mad. That is my one word. We'll be back later with another show. Be on the lookout for that because that's what we do here on the Niners Report.